You're Christina?
Yes.
Okay, Christina, do me a favor. Can you step out of the car for me?
That was married soccer coach and teacher Christina Formella the day she was arrested and charged with having sex with a student.
But you can't even give me like an idea as to what this is about?
Other than it's an investigation, that's all I can really tell you right now. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more.
I have the very latest on her case, her appearance in court, and one area where her lawyers and prosecutors see eye to eye. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Christina Formella is accused of serious crimes involving one of her former students and an allegation that she had sex with him in her classroom when she was tutoring him before school. Prosecutors say the assault happened at South Downers Grove High School outside of Chicago in December of 2023. A petition for Formella's detention, which was denied, stated, according to the teen, he and defendant had developed feelings for each other. The teen said that one morning in December 2023, before school, he had met up with defendant in her classroom. The teen said that defendant had closed her door, which automatically locked, that they had started kissing, that he had grabbed her butt and she had grabbed his private parts over the clothes, that she had removed his pants and underwear, that they had removed her leggings, and that they had engaged in sexual intercourse while standing up. Now, the student's mother went to police in March after she started setting up a new iPhone for him, and police said she discovered text messages between her son and an unknown number. The woman's son wrote in one of the texts, "I love you so, so much, Mama." The unknown number texted back, "I love you so much, baby," even though this morning was short, it was perfect. The teen messaged back, "I know, baby, it was perfect, so perfect." The unknown number then texted, "I love having sex with you." The teen responded, "I know, baby, I love it so much. It feels so good. It's so passionate. It's so intimate. It is so perfect." Now, the mother had to be livid when she read these text messages, a teacher and her son telling each other that they love each other and talking about having sex in a classroom. This led police to pick up Formella on March 16th.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
Officer Guzman with Downers Grove. Do you have your license on you?
Tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna explain. I'm sure you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You're Christina?
Yes.
Okay, Christina, do me a favor. Can you step out of the car for me? I know you're confused. I'll explain everything to you. You don't have anything on you? You can just grab whatever you need.
Whatever I need.
Yeah, whatever you need, like your phone, your purse, go ahead and grab it.
Is she going somewhere? Or?
Yeah, we're gonna explain everything to you guys. Go ahead and grab out. We're not going anywhere right now. Of course, yeah.
I don't understand what's going on here.
I get it, yeah. You can go grab your things.
Can he come with me?
Yes. You stay there, right for right now, sir, just stay there, but yes, you can. But come on back here.
Should I shut the car off?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. Goes off. Okay. Let's right back over here. So, we do have an investigation going on. We have to talk to you about it at the police department, okay? So we're going to explain everything to you there. It's not my investigation. I don't know the full details. We do have to bring you there, though, okay? So I do have to put you in handcuffs and bring you to the police department. Just a Downers Grove.
Handcuffs?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
I'm like willing to go with you.
I get it, yeah. Unfortunately, we have to do it that way. So do me a favor. We just take this off.
Now, Formella was with her husband. It was a Sunday, and she was clearly shocked.
Can I ask you
Of course, yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not my investigation. Obviously, we're here for a reason. So go ahead and turn around for me. So right now you're just being detained, and there is a detective that needs to talk to you at the police department. So we'll let your husband know. He can just come to the police department as well if he wants to wait for you there.
I'm like...
I get it. You have a lot of questions.
So scared.
Yeah, everything's okay. We just need to talk to you at the police department. That's all. Nothing else on your pocket right now? Anything else?
Just my phone.
Just your phone?
Here.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're heading to sit in the back of this car. On the other side. Once you get to the police department, you'll talk to the detective and he'll explain everything to you.
But you can't even give me like an idea
At the moment,
what this is about?
Other than that it's an investigation, that's all I can really tell you right now. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more.
Is he coming with me?
We'll let him know right now.
Did you know that high blood pressure is the #1 risk factor for mortality? 1 in 2 adults have it, and many don't even realize they're at risk. It's a silent killer lurking unnoticed until it's too late. But here's the good news. You don't have to rely on big pharma to manage it. 120 Life is a blend of great tasting superfruit juices that's been shown to actually help lower blood pressure. It's trusted by hundreds of doctors and thousands of people who've seen real results. It's trackable too. Use a simple blood pressure monitor to see the changes yourself. Plus, it's completely risk-free. If you don't see lower numbers in 2 weeks, you get your money back. In a world where every second counts, don't let high blood pressure be the threat you never saw coming. Take control today. Visit 120life.com/crimefix and use code CRIMEFIX, or scan the QR code on your screen to save 15%. Formella was taken to the police department.
Is he coming with me?
We'll let him know right now.
Excuse me, is my husband coming with?
Yes, yeah, he's taking his phone number down. We're staying in touch with him. We're just going to Downer Grove, so 10 minutes away.
No, I know, but I really would prefer that my husband's with me.
Of course.
Am I in trouble? Like, I'm so lost right now.
I'm sure you are.
Formella was questioned about the student, and police said that she claimed everyone comes after her because she is good looking. The officer wrote in a court document that Formella denied having sex with the student, but in the same breath said that the relationship was wrong and she couldn't stop it because she cared too much about him. The petition for detention states, when confronted with the text messages found on the student's phone, she claimed that one day the student had grabbed her phone unattended, had entered her passcode, which he allegedly knew because he had seen her type it into her phone one day, had sent the message to his phone, had then deleted the message from her phone, and had saved it to his phone as blackmail. According to defendant, she had no idea these text messages even existed. So according to police, Formella claimed the student had created the text messages that I read to you earlier. Police also said they found a memoir updated the morning of her arrest in the notes section of her phone, and that it was about the student, and that she claimed these were an outlet for her anxiety brought on by the student. An officer said Formella wrote, "I'm not upset, I'm not mad, I'm not any of that, I've just lost interest. I went back and screenshotted every single time that I said we should break up until after the wedding and after you graduated. And every single effing time you came back and convinced me it would be fine. I initiated every single breakup, only for you to end things saying you couldn't get over it. You ruined us. I warned you we should have never started dating a long effing time ago, and you gaslit me and convinced me it was fine every single time because that's who you are. We will never, ever be together again. I'm not a second choice. I'm the best thing you'll ever have, even with all of my mistakes. You, once again, waited and strung me along until it was convenient for you. It broke me last time. This time it changed me. I'm not sad. I'm F-word mad that I let a 16-year-old F-word with me like that, and I made a promise to myself that I never will let any guy F-word with me like that again." Now, police said there was a section in Formella's notes entitled Manifestations that read, "The teen is going to reach out to me soon and try to fix things between us. In the meantime, I'm going to live my best life knowing he's not the person I thought he was and that he is beneath me." Police said they found another note in Formella's phone from November of 2024 that read, "The teen and I will connect again soon in a positive way. We will both get the closure we need in order to move on in a healthy way. We will be able to be a part of each other's lives forever. We will be in each other's lives forever. We will be able to love each other while also living our own lives." Detectives said Christina Formella had referred to the boy as her stalker and that her husband knew about this, but when they asked her husband about him, he only knew about the teen as a soccer player. Now, on March 16th, the questioning by detectives ended as Formella was taken to jail.
I'm just gonna put your seatbelt on, right? Unless you're able to reach it down there. Alright. Sure you don't want a tissue or something?
I feel like I'm gonna throw up.
You want a bag?
Yes, please.
Alright. Shauna, can you grab like a bag out of there? Hey, can you get like a bag just in case she gets nauseous? Yeah. I don't know, do we have any of those Nemesis bags like laying around the farm? I figure something better than nothing.
Now, the case has gotten a lot of attention locally in DuPage County and nationally. Here's reporter Suzanne Sarkowskis from dailyherald.com.
It has drawn quite the attention from the public in the Downers Grove area. Hundreds of comments on social media. It's been one of our highest trending stories on the Daily Herald website. So people are interested. I know that the Daily Mail has done some court coverage out here in the past, but it's pretty rare. And pretty rare for People to show up out here, People magazine. So I don't know how they even noticed it, and why they're paying attention. But yeah, there's high interest.
Christina Formella appeared in court on Monday, and her lawyer and her husband were with her.
It was a fairly brief hearing, about 6 minutes in total. It's a large courtroom. She had 2 attorneys with her today. I believe she may have 3 overall. She was arraigned on the charges. The indictment, the grand jury indicted her on April 1st, so today was the first date where she could be arraigned. And so the judge, read the charges and explained them to her and gave the sentencing possibilities, or excuse me, the prosecutor gave the sentencing possibilities. She pleaded not guilty, and then they scheduled a court date for June, where they may set a trial date, and discuss setting a trial date. She was dressed, I would say, very professionally. She's a very petite woman. And that was about it. The rest of the hearing was a discussion of the upcoming date regarding whether we can have cameras in the courtroom.
Now, in Illinois, the prosecution, defense, and the judge have to sign off for cameras to be allowed in a court proceeding, and Formella's lawyers are objecting to the Daily Mail's request to shoot the proceedings and share the footage with other media outlets. Formella's lawyer wrote, "The media request here is untimely. The defendant's court appearance on April 14, 2025 was scheduled on March 17, 2025. Daily Mail Online provided the media coordinator with notice on April 9, 2025, and the defendant did not receive notice of the same until April 10, 2025. Daily Mail Online has provided no good cause for its failure to timely notify the media coordinator, the court, and the parties of its request for extended media coverage." Now, her lawyers continued. Since defendant's arrest, she, her family, and neighbors have been repeatedly harassed by tabloid media reporters seeking to sensationalize this case. Local law enforcement has been called numerous times. And the defense isn't the only side objecting to cameras in the courtroom.
The prosecution feels that way too. And then the defense feels, besides that, they also feel that, the victim has rights not to have a camera in the courtroom. And even if it's at a point where they're not testifying yet, they could be in the audience, and they say, they don't want pictures taken of the victim. So, but yeah, the sensationalism is a factor.
The prosecution says the victim and his family do not want cameras in the courtroom. This case has garnered substantial public attention, both in traditional media as well as social media, some of which have sensationalized the allegations in this case. The victim and his family have already suffered substantial embarrassment by the filing of the charges in this case. Despite the use of the victim's initials in the pleadings in this case, based on the facts of this case that are of public record, the victim is easily identifiable by those familiar with him. Any video and photographs of the parties in this case during court proceedings will presumably be disseminated to the public. A Upon said dissemination, these videos and photographs will undoubtedly make its way to other media outlets whose main interest is to appeal to the salacious appetite of a certain segment of the population who has a bizarre fascination with the facts of this case. The defense also discussed social media and its objection to having cameras in the courtroom. Photographs of the defendant, body-worn camera recordings, pleadings, and law enforcement reports have appeared on TikTok, Instagram, X, and other social media platforms. Posts and comments have numbered in the thousands. The presence of a photojournalist at the arraignment will create a heightened media spectacle that could prejudice potential jurors and the public against the defendant. And again, Christina Formella has pleaded not guilty to these charges. I want to turn now to somebody who has prosecuted teachers in the past for sex crimes. He is Mark Weaver, and he serves sometimes as a judge in Ohio and a prosecutor. So, Mark, just your gut reaction to the allegations in this case. We have a kind of a young teacher, but she's a teacher nonetheless, accused of having a sexual relationship with a student who was 15 at the time. Now he's a little older. But it sounds like, according to what's in her phone, according to what they wrote in the court documents, she possibly still has feelings for him and has a hard time, according to what they've written, letting go.
There's remarkable evidence in this case. Typically, when I'm prosecuting a sex offender, it's a he said, she said thing. Rarely is such good documentary evidence available in her own phone. The excuses she's offered for why she acknowledges this inappropriate and illegal relationship in her phone are borderline laughable. I think jurors might be offended at it. I can't imagine this is going to go to a trial. I think she's going to be pleading guilty and hoping to maybe just limit her prison sentence to 4 or 5 years.
It seems like a lot of times these female teachers, though, and she's pleaded not guilty. She has pleaded not guilty in court. That happened this week. So she's, at this point in the game, her attorney will get the discovery. He will go through it. He'll determine, what he thinks the best course of action in this case should be. But, she claimed, according to the police, that the student got into her phone, somehow knew her passcode and sent these texts and then wanted to keep them as blackmail. She called him, apparently referred to him as, or painted him as a stalker, something to that effect. The husband had no idea who he was other than a soccer player, had no idea about this so-called stalking. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah. The things she wrote in her phone actually correspond with and supports this young boy's account of what happened. So we have his account. We have her own notes suggesting that she was in an inappropriate sexual relationship. And yeah, she's a younger teacher. And at one point she said, because she thinks she's good looking, therefore everyone's picking on her. I don't imagine juries would like that. They're not going to like the fact that this happened. They're not going to like her excuses. They're not going to like this notion of, I'm the pretty girl, so everybody picks on me. This is a tough case for someone to defend. The only way I could see the defense winning a not guilty verdict would be some mistake in the state's case. And I imagine prosecutors are going to handle this very carefully, if for no other reason it's become a very high-profile case.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned 4 or 5 years in prison. You've prosecuted cases where you've sent people to prison for sex crimes, male and female teachers, coaches, things like that. We've seen some other cases, though, where female teachers have gotten probation. Not that probation is a walk in the park, but we've seen a lot of cases where these female teachers have gotten like years on probation and not jail time. What do you make of that?
It's wrong. The last female teacher / coach who I prosecuted is doing 10 years in prison for having sex with multiple boys, including one as young as 13 years old. And in my sentencing memo that I filed with the court before the sentencing hearing, I laid out not just the law, but the problems in our culture with this notion that somehow it's a big win for a teenage boy to have sex with an older female teacher. I pointed to the movies and the songs and the television shows that lionize this notion that it's somehow a great thing for a 14 or 15 or 16-year-old boy to have sex with his female teacher. It's wrong. It's child abuse, and it ought to be sentenced the exact same way. And we as a culture should look just as harshly at young female teachers who have sex with students as we would if it were a male teacher.
So put a defense attorney hat on now. You're going to go through all of the discovery materials, assuming you're going to look at whether or not the phone was seized lawfully, her phone. She may have turned it over. It may have been a consent search, something like that. We don't know at this point in time. You're going to look at all of that stuff. As a defense attorney, do you go to the state and make an offer? I mean, how does that work?
I've not been a defense attorney, but I've worked with dozens and dozens of them over the years as a prosecutor. And they have a kind of a choice at the outset. Go in really hard charging, file motions to suppress against everything used against her, file every possible motion to try to undermine the state's case, which frankly aggravates prosecutors. I'm less likely to want to work out a plea agreement if a defense lawyer is being unreasonable in their pretrial filings. And so that's one path. The other path is to go to them hat in hand and say, listen, let's work something out. I'm sure we can make this work. That's what I mentioned earlier, is her best shot is to go and try to get a very short prison sentence, because she could do 10 or 15 years, depending on how many instances there were beyond the one instance where allegedly they had sex in the classroom.
Now, this is Illinois, different state than you practice in, but, neither side in Illinois, the judge, the prosecutor, and the defense have to kind of all sign off on allowing cameras in the courtroom. The media would like cameras to be in the courtroom for the proceedings, but both the defense and the prosecution are in agreement. They don't want cameras in the courtroom. Apparently, the victim is, they're embarrassed. He and his family. The defense doesn't want cameras in the courtroom. Both sides say the case has been sensationalized by some media. What is your response to that?
I taught a law school class at Ohio State for many years, and one of the topics I taught was cameras in court. And there's good arguments on both sides. Some people say we shouldn't have a media circus the way the O.J. Simpson trial became one. Others say this is transparency, and most people can't get down to the courthouse to watch what's happening in their system. I tend to lean more towards the latter. I think there is a transparency. I prosecuted a serial killer, and the entire trial was on television. It was on Law&Crime, and that allowed people who cared about that case to follow it without having to be in the courtroom every day, which is a burden for many people. So I tend to err on the side of allowing cameras in court, but we also have to have a fair trial. I do think there's a way to balance both interests.
Interesting. Well, we will see how it works out. Illinois is tricky when it comes to cameras, so we'll see what happens. But she will be back in court in June for another proceeding, but the camera issue will be taken up later this week. But Mark, you said, when you view what we've seen so far in the court documents, you find the evidence in this case to be remarkable.
I'm a little envious of these prosecutors because they've got better evidence than I have. And I'm able to prove my case beyond a reasonable doubt when it's a he said, she said. I'll take that burden, but I'd much rather have this documentary evidence. Nothing what she's saying makes sense. It really is the defense of a child who's been caught with their hand in the cookie jar, and it's obvious what they're doing. And so it's not been a smart defense so far. We'll see whether they have something to say. They don't have any burden in court, of course, but we'll see if they have a different theory going forward.
Yeah, it's pretty early in the case so far. And, when they picked her up, she did talk to the police. So there's that piece of evidence as well. And they referenced that. Mark Weaver, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.